After discussing in detail the what a business plan is and what are its objectives and importance of the business plan, in this session we are going to throw light on how to prepare a business plan and how to evaluate the pros and cons while doing it, so that we do away with the common mistakes that are possible to occur. So let us understand that how do we prepare a business plan. When the details are worked out, a plan that seems very profitable initially, maybe once we have worked out the plan, it does not look so. We come out with some very practical maybe aspects with aspect by which we come to understand that it is not that it's not that it wasn't that a good plan. So actually what we do is that documenting the business plan is one of the first thing that one businessman or a startup must do, because while documenting we are going to note down each and every points uh, in order to analyze it further. So first thing to do is documenting the business plan, first part. So there is a step-by-step plan that a successful entrepreneur takes when starting a new business. So as an owner, this business plan, it will serve as a guide and as maybe it shows you the direction, and it should also be flexible or maybe changeable if the need arises, because if the need be, then it will have to be reviewed and updated regularly, because of the dynamic nature of the market. We must do it in order to ensure that it stays very useful even as the business condition they change from time to time. So it is, while we are laying down the plan, we must be clear that it is not a rigid layout. It has to be flexible, and it must be changing from time to time as per the need of the hour. So within the business planning process, let us discuss that what steps have to be there. So to begin with, the first step, that is the preliminary investigation. In preliminary investigation starts before we prepare the plan, before we start noting down the things or working on this. So what an entrepreneur should be doing, he should look over and around any available business plans. The main business factor that should be included while preparing the plans are the, for example, inflation, exchange rates, market growth or market size or market culture also, the pressure from the competitors. These are the external level factors or external variables that must be understood. It can be the price level, it can be, as I said, inflation, it can be the exchange rate, it can be the competitors who are existing. After analyzing and maybe doing your homework with the outside world, we must also check out the internal environment as well as the external environment. Maybe we can conduct the SWOT analysis, that is the strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats of both the environment, internal and external environment. After that, maybe we can get help from some other experienced person and discuss the idea with that person, with them. Maybe we can also go for help from a consultancy services or the consultants who have an expert knowledge about the market, who have expert knowledge about what is going on and what is more, which business holds more potential future, etc., etc. So maybe we can also go to some people who already have the similar nature of business in order to do the preliminary investigation. So we keep on, before laying down or before deciding anything, we keep on studying the market. Once we have done the scanning part, or maybe once we have done the understanding or the preliminary investigation, the next step is the idea generation. That is your vision, your idea, what you have in your mind. So actually, innovation or coming up with a completely new idea or new product or maybe services is not the only thing that makes someone an entrepreneur. Actually, adding more value to an idea or product or service for the customers or clients or employee is also an entrepreneur. So it's not always that we go for creating something new. Maybe that there are certain products who are already existing, but they need but you feel you have a vision that you can add some more features to it. Maybe you do some innovation and you add some more aspects to that product in order to make the customers more happy, the customers more demanding for this. Or maybe you can also, add more value to the product by adding and services, by adding more things, qualitative aspects to those goods and services. So to do that, in order to do that, what the first step is that first step in starting a business is coming up with the idea, and this tells the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. Actually, people who are entrepreneurs are very creative, and they come up with new ways to make a product or services into the market. Actually, I must clarify here again that you do not have to have a completely new idea. It can be, innovative products and services can also be adding value to the new goods, or that the goods that are already existing in the market. So the first step in starting a business is coming up with those ideas. It means coming up with new concept, new ideas, goods or services in order to meet the market's current or maybe hidden and future needs. And some of the point where the ideas come from, maybe usually, often the ideas come maybe while you are exploring the market, you are talking to the customers, you are taking their view. So you are talking to them and immediately something clicks that yes, the consumer tells their need, or they share their problem with you. Then you start getting the ideas that yes, maybe I can produce something that I can make. So you go and move around the customers. Then maybe sometimes also you can move around the existing companies. You can go and meet the people who are running the similar businesses. Maybe when you talk to them, when you discuss with them, then you find that there are more scopes uh, for further improvement on the products. Those existing firms, because of their already established capacity or already established plan, they cannot add on innovations to their product. So but they have the thing that maybe if somebody else's can establish something like this to have an improved version of the product. So it might be you get some ideas from those existing companies. Another a very good source of getting new, generating the idea is through R&D. That is, in whatever way you feel it is possible, you conduct or you go for research and development of the product or services, and then you may explore things. You may dig deep into the things that are already existing, and maybe you find some gap existing, and then you come up with a solution to fill up that gap. That is a most common method also used for idea generation. Then the other Other thing that can be, it is you move in and talk to the employees. Sometimes the employees who are already into producing some goods and services, they often get better ideas for its improvement, or for adding more value to this product, or maybe adding more other features to this. So talking to the employees, maybe you get sometime, they tell you something which you are looking for. Employees can be a good source of idea generation sometimes. Then there are dealers and retailers in the market. Dealers or the retailers in the market, they are a connecting point between the customers and the production point, or the businessmen. So these dealers, because they are getting the first hand information from the customers, or the end user of that product or services, they can always convey those ideas to you in reference to your product or services. And you can always think on those dimensions and generate something new. So these are some of the some very common, but they are really very good points where you get idea generation, very practical and very close to the ground, close to the reality. Then there are some methods which help you in generating the new ideas, and that is your, maybe some of the methods are brainstorming. That is, you just throw an open discussion among the people of your office, of your business, or maybe you ask all the managers to sit down and discuss on things, that how things can be improved, how your existing product can be uh, you know improved upon, innovated. There is a concept of reverse brainstorming too. That is reverse brainstorming. We start, and brain writing. That is, we start with identifying the problem first. We look into the problem, that yes, please go and explore the market, go and explore the consumers, and find out where the problem is, what the problem is. Once you identify the problem, automatically you will come close to you will come close to solution. You, after brainstorming and discussing, maybe group discussion can also be another method of getting innovation, or learning more about the product and this thing. So it is, once you identify the problem, you discuss on them. You already have the existing products in the market, but what more can be done, what more features can be added, etc., etc. Then another very interesting way or method of generating idea is you throw invite of ideas through advertisement, maybe, or mail and the internet. Maybe you hold some program, some meeting, some event, in order to, maybe through discussions and through debates, maybe you seminars also. You may collect people from different domain, diverse maybe backgrounds, to sit back and study and discuss in detail. And because they already must have researched the market, so when you're inviting them through the advertisement, you will be filtering the best of the ideas that can be brought on the same platform. So these are some of the methods. And another, obviously, is the market research. That is, screening of new ideas should be done to identify promising new ideas and eliminate the practical ones. So you yourself maybe have to go down to do the research in the field in order to get better idea about the product. So this was the next step, that is the idea generation. So we start with the preliminary investigation, that is whether this is going to work out or not, on the basis of internal and external markets, and or maybe platforms. And after that, we go for the idea generation. Once the idea that has been maybe selected or maybe picked up for doing the business and doing other parts of the works required, the third step, it is the environmental scanning that has to be done. So after developing a good idea during the idea creation phase, the next step is to do an environmental scan in order to examine the business's possible strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and the risks, or maybe threat also we can call. So before starting a business, it is a good idea to look at the internal as well as the external environments. You just have to find out about the strength and the flaws of the internal environment, and the possible chances and threats in the external environment are. Actually, these need to be scanned and evaluated not once or twice but regularly throughout the life of the business, and the reason is again the dynamic world. That market scenario keeps on changing, the demand, the supply, the government policy, the taste and preference, the fashion industry, etc. They keep on changing. It is a dynamic world, and therefore we must keep on, with the internal, keep in touch with the internal and the external factors. So factors that need to be examined, they include changes in the outside world, socio-cultural, economic, political, technological, and social conditions, and the entrepreneur's access to raw material, tool, money, people, and other resources. So these are the vast list of items that need to be scanned or worked upon before going into the business. So there are officials and informal sources of information such as maybe banking, reading through the newspapers and magazines, then visiting the government offices and picking out the data from them, workshops, suppliers, dealers, and rivals. Informal sources may include your family, friend, co-workers, and friends also. Actually, the goal of a good environmental scan should be to gather as much information as possible. Which means that the business owner should get information from as many sources as possible and then consider whether the information would help or hurt the business. So your job is to first to filter and gather all the information, and then you will be deciding whether they are useful or not useful. The more the positive information, the more sure people will be that the business is going to be a successful business. But however, some mistakes might take place during this process, maybe such as mechanical mistakes, that is the wrong reading or misrepresentation of the facts. Then maybe there is inability to record these factors that change very quickly, like technology or like market condition, the inability to see a big picture, and so on. So culture and so on. So cultures are also different, and a deep understanding is needed. All these things they must be considered while scanning the environment. Following other components of external environment, the first is we will group the environmental factors as external environment and the internal environment. So first we will discuss some of the components, and following are some of them external environment. First is the socio-cultural environment. Actually, socio-cultural appraisal, it looks at a society's social and cultural standards at a certain point of time. What the society is and what culture is there dominating that society at that time. their trends and developments are closely related to population, the lifestyle, the culture, their tastes and preferences, the customs and traditions they follow, how they are living, what food they are eating, what dresses they prefer to wear, etc., etc. What are their customs, what are their traditions, etc. So these factors, they are actually created by the society, and often they are not often, rather it should be most of the time, they are passed down from one generation to another generation. And it is the next generations and the families, the closely knit families especially, they do follow or adhere to those cultural norms and those social norms very strictly. So this information can be of great help to determine how open or closed a society is, and how open and closed a society is to the new ideas or new product or new services, or maybe how that particular society or culture is going to accept or adopt the product for themselves. After considering the social and cultural, we can go for demographic appraisal. It is very important. That is, it is the study of the general pattern of the people who live in a particular area. For example, demographic parameters are the age of people, that is, what age group is more dominating in a particular area, their gender, maybe their age profile, their gender, their income distribution, what is the different levels of income group people live in that area, is it a rich class or a medium class, etc. Then the school profile, that is, what kind of schools are there or what kind of schools they prefer to send their children to, income distribution, and etc., etc. So these are the demographic parameters. Once you understand the or evaluate the demographic factor, this will help you to figure out that what age group is living in the area. Is it more old people living in that area? Then obviously the product produced should be more for them, because then you can consider the demand. If it is more, what gender is more dominant, maybe males or females, or whether they are educated people or they are only uneducated and illiterate, because accordingly, according to their demographics, this demographic impacts the taste, preference and demand of the people living in that particular area, and that is going to help you a lot. Next factor that must be taken into consideration is the technological appraisal. So this part, it looks at different kinds of technology that can be used to make the idea into a product. You can, maybe the product that you are trying to cater to, or you are trying to, maybe it will be requiring the old technology, it can do with the old technology, or you can also look at some new technologies coming out soon and see how well they fit with your business. So that must be appraised and evaluated in order to apply it to your business. Another very important factor that must be evaluated is the economic evaluation. Economic evaluation, that is, it is how the economy is doing in a certain society, by maybe looking at the things or measuring the things like inflation, the price level, the per capita income, the spending power of the people living there, the balance of payment, the balance of payments and the consumer price index, etc., etc. Actually, these factors, for example, per capita income, spending power, they decide the demand and the quality of demand also at the same time, quantity as well as the quantity of demand. So it can, once you study the economic condition of the people, the economic condition that prevails in that society or in that part of the country, here it will make, entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs more confident that their business will succeed when the economy is healthy, because it means more chances will be available for the industry to grow and improve. So economic evaluation is imperative, because we must know the health of the financial health of the consumers to assess his paying capacity. Then next is the governmental appraisal. Governmental appraisal, actually, this type of evaluation, it looks at the, or it assesses the laws, the rules and regulations, the subsidies, the funding capacity, or the funding provisions, processes, and other things that government has made or provided for a specific business. That is, it tries to understand the rules and regulation that govern certain nature of business. So it is easier for an entrepreneur to start and run a business when government rules for a particular industries are less strict or less, less rigid. For instance, suppose if government announces subsidies for some specific products, or tax holidays in some regions or industry, then it is more feasible or more profitable for one to start that industry in that particular region. Suppose if it announces that, okay, for the northeast belt or for the hilly regions, or for maybe the south of the country, the government announces that some tax holidays for suppose 5 years, 10 years, if you suppose go for some software unit. So it is always, it will attract more and more investors to start those kind of industries in those regions. Maybe another example can be that the government only wants to let some FDI into a retail sector. Then it would obviously restrict the international players might be from entering the Indian markets very easily. This factor must be taken into consideration, and for this an individual and a startup must be aware, and they must have full learning regarding the government policies and provisions, and what are the government's future plans also. Some intelligent businessmen, they always keep an eye on government's futuristic planning, because they understand that in what area or in what domain the government is going to encourage the growth and promotion. So they know that now the rules and policies will be framed to promote those industry or those nature of businesses. So these businesses immediately take advantage of those provisions of the government. So these factors, as we discussed, that is the government appraisal, the economic evaluation, the technological aspect, the demographic aspect, social and cultural aspects. These are external environment factors which must be examined thoroughly by an individual before he lays down the plan or before he plans his business for himself. These were the external environment factors. Now let us discuss some of the internal factors that is related to internal environment. The first is the raw material. That is, one must ensure that a raw material that are available is present, it is available present in that area close by, and it must always be be available in the near future also. So if the materials are hard to come by, it's difficult to get, then it will be a great problem for the business to continue smoothly. Therefore the system, maybe because it can lead to insufficient raw material or lack of supply in future, maybe that hinders the smooth running, or maybe it can stop the business completely. Therefore this raw material availability should be very clear, clearly looked into, and it should be available. The availability, the regular availability of the raw material should also be a strong factor that has to be considered for a smooth running of the business. Then next is the production and operation. Actually, it includes the different machines, tools, equipments, and methods which are needed for the production and operations, and we must check out that whether they are available or not. If majority of these things, that is equipment, tools and machines, are available within the country, it is well and good. Otherwise, if you have to import the whole plant, it becomes quite difficult and quite expensive also. And a businessman must look into this factor, that is production and operation, their easy availability of these factors for the business. Another important component is the financial need. That is the capital, the money that is required, the sufficient quantity of money needed for the business, and ongoing cost also, because it will include two things, that is fixed cost and the variable cost, or maybe the fixed capital and the working capital. So how to acquire that, what should be the sources, what should be the capital structure, that is the debt and equity, what should be the method, will it be taken from bank, will it be raised through shares, etc., etc. After that, another internal factor that needs to be considered is the human factor, or the human resources. An assessment has to be done to determine what kind of people are needed and how much demand and quantity there is in the market, quantity available in the market. And so here, what kind of people means the qualification, their expertise, their vocational training, or their maybe their qualifications, that is learning and training. It's a blend of that, a blend of training and learning, etc., etc. And how much is what is the supply available, because the supply and demand will decide what should be the salary structure of those people, of those employees. So this will help even more in figuring out that how much it will be costing, and how much competition there is to hire and keep these employees, that is to retain back these employees. That is also another cost of production. So we can say that after understanding the internal and external environment, we can say that environment scanning should be thoroughly done, and the aim should be to get as much information as possible from as many sources as possible, and we must make the most of this information to improve the business chances of success. And then after doing this, we can now maybe are ready to certain extent to lay down the business plan or formalize the business plan. So we do this much in this session. We will continue with the flexibility analysis, feasibility analysis in the next session. Thank you.